Hey guys, today we are looking at the nutrition labels. And so what I'm going to do is take you through a honey buns label. So a honey bun or an iced honey bun. I don't know if you guys have ever seen these. It's a little Debbie snack. It's a honey bun. They're delicious. And we're going to look at the nutrition label and understand how to read it. So we're understanding what are calories and how they are added and figured out on these nutrition labels. So let's start here. On the label of the food item, find the total number of calories. And then we're going to put that total number of calories down here in the bottom of the column, total calories per serving. And so if we look at the total calories per serving, it is 490. So 490. Put that there. And now find the number of grams of fat, carbs, and proteins found in one serving. So this is one serving. So this would be one pastry is one serving. And so our total fat is 25 grams. 25 grams. Our total carbs are 60 grams of carbs. And our total protein is 5 grams of protein. And we know from our notes in class that for every gram of fat, we're going to multiply that by 9. For every gram of carb, we're going to multiply that by 4. For every gram of protein, we're going to multiply that by 4, meaning that there are 4 calories per 1 gram of protein. There are 4 calories per 1 gram of carbs. There are 9 calories per 1 gram of fat. So if we do that math out, let's grab our little calculator. 25 times 9 is going to give us 225, so 225. So we get 225 of our 490 calories comes from fat. Let's do our carbs. 60 times 4 is 240, and 5 times 4 is going to give us 20. So that's 20 calories. So if we add these up, 225 plus 240 plus 20, that's going to give us 485 calories. Now, let us compare, number 5, compare the value for the total calories right here to the total calories per serving. So there's 5 calories different. Why is that? So here, what they don't have to do on these labels is indicate if we have 25.4 grams of fat in a serving of honey buns, they can round down. They kind of hide those calories in there. They can round down. So if we had 60.5 calories, they'd have to round up and call it 61. But if they have 60.4 carbs, they can round down. And so there's kind of those hidden calories there, but they can hide them there, but they can't hide them in the total calories per serving. So they have to indicate all of the total calories in that honey bun. So this is how we find the number of calories in our, or the amount of energy that is in a honey bun or in any food. We use that nutrition label. Something to keep an eye on is what the serving is. Sometimes if you're drinking a soda, it'll be for one container, there's 2 servings per container. And so you're thinking, if you look really quickly at your label, if you see 25 grams of fat and there's 2 servings per container, you're like, oh, well, that's not 25 for the entire container. That's 25 grams. That's 50 grams for the entire container. So that's an important thing to look at, is how much is the serving size and the servings per container. And so here, for our serving size, we have 1 pastry. And in a box of honey buns, there is usually about 12. So that's telling us this. Now let's look at the percent daily value from honey buns labels. The percent daily value, what this is telling us is that for some people, we're supposed to have 2,000 calories per day. And for other people, they're supposed to have about 2,500 calories. There's a tendency, usually this is for females. Some females, a generalized or an average of many females is that they're supposed to have about 2,000, but that's not true for everybody. Some people have to have more and some people have to have less. And so generally for males, that's 2,500 calories per day. But like I said, that's variable per person. If you're very active or if you're not active, that's going to vary. So let's just look at this right here, 2,000 calories. So for carbs, if you have 2,000 calories, you're supposed to have about 300 grams of carbs in a day. And if you're so let's look at fat, you're supposed to have 65 grams of fat per day. And saturated fat, which is a different kind of fat, that's the unhealthy fat. So for carbs, we're supposed to have 300 if you're having a 2,000 calorie diet. For fat, it's going to be 65 grams per day. For saturated fat, so saturated fat is the unhealthy fat. The healthy fat is unsaturated fat, but we're looking at the unhealthy fat here. So 20 grams per day. And let's look at what our percentages are on the nutrition facts. It says here that our honey bun gives us 38% of our total fat and 20% of our carbs that we're supposed to have in a day. So let's look at where these numbers are coming from. So the grams of carbs per serving on a honey bun's label is, we saw, so the total carbs is 60 carbs. So 60 grams of carbs, we'll put that there. And so what are we supposed to have in a day? We're supposed to have 300. So let's do some math. 300, oh, just kidding, 60 divided by 300 is 0.2 or 20%. So 0.2 or 20%. Let's look at our grams of fat. So there's 25 grams in our honey buns. And what are we supposed to have in a day? About 65 grams if you're following the 2,000 calorie diet. So 65 grams. So let's do some math. We have 25 divided by 65, and that gives us 0.38 or 38%. So 0.38 or 38%. Now let's do our saturated fat. Our saturated fat is 20. So here you're supposed to have about 20, and what we have in the honey buns is 11. So we have 11 grams of saturated fat in our honey buns, and what we're supposed to have is 20 grams. So let's do some more math here. 11 divided by 20 gives us 0.55 or 55%. So 0.55 or 55%. So this should look pretty familiar. This gives us this one honey bun. If we eat a honey bun pastry instead of a healthy breakfast for a day, what that's going to give us is 25 or 20% of all of the carbs that we're supposed to eat in that day. It's going to give us 38% of all of the fat that we're supposed to eat in that day. It's going to give us more than half of the saturated fat that we're supposed to have in a day. So that's a lot of energy, because if you think about it, you haven't had lunch yet, you haven't had a snack yet, you haven't had dinner yet. And so a lot of your energy that you're supposed to consume in a day has already been consumed after this one honey bun. Let's look at the total number of calories. So there's 490 in this honey buns, and we're supposed to have about 2,000 if you're following the 2,000 calorie diet. And 490 divided by 2,123 is 0.245, or 25% if we round up. So 0.245, and if we just round up, that's 25% of all of the energy, or of all of the calories we're supposed to have in a day, we have consumed with one honey bun. So what I want you guys to do now is to choose a food label and to run through it on your own. If you have any questions, please ask. And I'll talk to you guys later.